Our first guest tonight says there is a deep state of entrenched federal employees who have set up deliberate leaks in order to attack President Trump and his administration. Joining me tonight, Trump advisor, former Speaker of the House and 2012 presidential candidate, Newt Gingrich. Great to have you with us. Let's start with, if we may, James Comey and his peculiar, if you will, discreet judgments about what he can talk about and what he cannot amongst what seem to be a number of investigations that are ongoing.
Well, I mean, Comey's whole behavior starting last summer about Hillary Clinton has consistently been bizarre. And what you saw today was equally bizarre. On the one hand, he's perfectly happy to confirm they have an investigation that might involve some people in the Trump campaign. On the other hand, he's not willing to confirm that they have an investigation about people who are leaking. Now, what's the difference? I mean, why is it he can confirm one but not confirm the other? And he has this bland technique of showing up, getting media, and doing it almost like it's the Wizard of Oz and he's behind some curtain being a magician. Give us a break. What are the principles here? It's very clear that felonies were committed in order for information to become public, not just directly about General Flynn, but in a number of other cases. As several people have admitted, there's been a huge increase in the number of people leaking since Donald Trump became president. Those are all illegal. Why? My question for Comey would be, if you're not investigating them, why aren't you? They are felonies. They involve a risk to national security. And I would have thought it was the job of the FBI to find out who did it.
You would think that, and you would think that there would be almost an eagerness on the part of the FBI director to reassure the American people that their FBI is working to preserve national security and state secrets. But then on the other hand, we have a situation in which he knocked down any suggestion that of the president's that President Obama could have surveilled him, yet did not in any way, in my opinion, satisfactorily explain why there were so many public accounts, published accounts, whether it be the New York Times, the National Review, the list goes on, of conversations amongst a number of individuals and at least 9 sources, according to one account, that were leaking information.
Well, you have to wonder, since the Obama administration changed the rules of the game, made it possible to actually distribute information that was not verified. I mean, the rules changes after the election allowed various intelligence agencies to release information that they had no idea whether they were true or not. And they did it in a way where they knew that there was a very high likelihood they would leak. Now, I think this was part of a deliberate sabotage of the Trump administration, something which is going on today. Remember, 97% of the donations given by Justice Department employees went to Hillary Clinton. 97%. So who do you think their bias is in favor of? I think that's just an objective reality that you have a deep state, that deep state is permanent, long-term career bureaucrats, and that they will do almost anything, including breaking the law, to try to undermine the Trump administration.
And it is certainly possible, if not probable, that the FBI director is high on that particular totem, because as he discussed the number of people who are authorized to unmask within the FBI, including himself some 20, he ignored the number that's available to do the same thing in various other agencies, another 16 intelligence agencies, and frankly, the projection from that is something like we would look at a number somewhere around 340 if it were the same as in the FBI. So this becomes you talk about a large pool of potential leakers. My God, they have created that, and that doesn't even include the NSA expansion of raw data and where it may direct that raw data out across the intelligence community.
Well, and one of the questions for the Trump administration is, have they changed the rules back to what they were before the election, to at least cut off the flow of raw data? I mean, the average citizen needs to understand, raw data means Anybody can make up anything about anyone. It gets written down in an official government document. Suddenly it has a life of its own. We saw this idiocy last summer with the British former spy who wrote that one of Trump's people went to Prague when they'd never been in the Czech Republic. I had no idea what he was talking about. But that had a life of its own for 6 weeks.
And let's turn very quickly, if we may, to two other quick subjects. In case I'm not conveying this adequately, I'm pressed for time, Newt. Healthcare legislation. Thursday, a big vote. The president is in Louisville tonight to push the legislation forward. What do you see as the likely fate of the repeal and replace?
Well, I hope they can get it passed Thursday. It's only the beginning of a long process.
Right.
Then it has to go to the Senate. They'll pass a different bill. Then it has to go to conference. And all of that's only part one. This is going to be a long process of repealing and reorganizing our health system. But I think it's very important that it pass on Thursday. And I hope the Republicans who are wavering will realize just how much weight is on them not to be the people who slow down the Trump Express. He's getting a lot of stuff done. It would be nice to have his team rally around him and continue building momentum.
Speaker Ryan, right now the House working through the legislation, adding some additional changes to the legislation. The Speaker finally deciding to make a substantial commitment to, if not amendments, at least to substantial changes in the legislation to lower premiums, to move aside all of the mandates in it. Your thoughts on the restructuring of the bill? Do you think it's appropriate that most of the amendments take place in the House or the Senate?
Well, first of all, they're going to have amendments in the House just to get the bill out.
Right.
And I hope that he will recognize he's got to have the number of amendments he needs to get to 216 to get the bill out. The bill in the Senate is going to be very different. It's a very different environment. They're going to ultimately have to go to conference. This will be a substantial process lasting, I think, at least into early summer.